Hey guys, all right, so I'm going to try to continue doing these videos. I hope they help. I'm not sure. So I've got a little bit of feedback from some of you that it did make it a little easier. So the first thing we're going to talk about really is on page 92, and it's down here at the bottom, and it is the growth rate or population growth rate. And so the first thing we need to know is that immigration and immigration, which are two of your vocabulary words. So, as I said last night, immigration is exiting the population and immigration is entering the population. And so, population growth rate is the birth rate plus immigration minus the death rate plus immigration will give you your total growth. And if I were on my board, it would have all been one line for a nice simple math problem. But since I'm not, and we're improvising, and I can't write on my wall because then I would have to repaint, and Mr. Marshall would have a cow. So we're going to do it on this little itty bitty whiteboard and look a little crazy. So population growth is birth rate plus immigration, those coming into the population, minus the death rate, those that are leaving, and immigration. Right? And so that gives us our population growth. And that's basically the majority of what's on page 92. On page 93, it talks about the growth models. And so we have two different types. We have exponential growth and logistic growth. And so what we need to know about exponential growth is that first, why they put it on the second page of your text about this, I don't know. But when we get to what a population can handle, all right, is the first thing we need to know is that there's a carrying capacity. What that environment can contain and hold at one period of time, what can survive in that population or in that ecosystem, environment, country, whatever we're looking at, that big picture. All right. And so exponential growth, all right, is also known as a J curve. All right. Because what happens is the population starts and it rises rather quickly till it hits to the carrying capacity. And then as it hits the carrying capacity, the population will go above it and below it and above it and below it. And it'll stay steady at like that. Most commonly when we see this talked about in science, they usually use bacteria because bacteria, so it's basically you start off with one, you get 2, you get 4, you get 8, you get 16, and so forth. Or actually 4, 16, 32, and it keeps going. And it comes at this J curve look. All right. And so it starts off a little bit slow and then it rapidly rises. The next one that they talk about in the textbook is exponential or logistic growth. All right. And so logistic growth is an S curve. And so it looks like that, and so it's called an S curve. And once again, we've got our carrying capacity, what that environment and ecosystem can handle at any one period of time. And so it starts out rather slow, and then it levels off until it gets up to the top. And that's what happens with most populations. That's what's happening with the human population, and that's what we see most commonly in society and in plant populations as well. There are some, plants and weeds and things that mosquitoes that grow rather quickly, and then they hit that max population. And because there's not enough resources for those organisms to survive, there's not enough food or there's not enough shelter, something, it gets too dry. For mosquitoes, it's got to get cold enough. That's why down here in Florida, we don't ever really lose our mosquito population because it doesn't ever get cold enough to kill enough of them off in the wintertime. All right, so the next thing that it talks about on page 94 is reproductive patterns. And so it talks about our strategist, and let's see, what's the other one really quick? So I'm looking over here at my book because I can't read how small it is on here. Yeah, so, I'm old, so my It's not nearly as good as yours. And so our strategists are organisms that reproduce at a really quick rate. They don't put a lot of energy into raising their young. So these are guys that they give birth and the organisms can survive on their own immediately. All right. And so they live in environments or conditions where the biotic and abiotic factors are changing frequently and rapidly. All right, so they're affected by temperatures. Once again going back to like the mosquitoes, where they don't they don't die off because it down here it doesn't freeze a lot, but up in the northern regions where we get really cold winters, they'll kill them off, and that's why mosquitoes don't show up until later in the year up in those kinds of areas. And so the factors fluctuate: the temperatures, the food availability, migration of organisms that are coming in and taking it. And so these guys are typically small. They're affected by density independent. Remember, those are those things that don't really have an effect on what an organism does to survive. And so those are typically those abiotic factors. And so those are the R strategists. All right. So the next factor on page 95, let's see if it'll go to page 95. Sometimes it kicks me out because I don't stay on here long enough. So on 95, it talks about K strategists. And so K strategists are more like humans. These are the organisms that they're pregnant for a long period of time, and their reproductive cycles are very slow. They give a lot of time in raising their young before their young become independent upon their own. Humans, elephants, and so these guys are much more affected by density dependent factors. They're not so affected by temperature changes. And so these guys, as it says up here, they have longer lifespans. All right. They produce fewer, whereas our strategists, bunny rabbits, they produce a lot and they produce quickly. Mice, they produce a lot, they produce quickly. All right. K strategists, they don't produce a lot. They have 1 or 2 offspring at each birth. They may have 3 or 4, but they're still not having a ton of offspring. And so once again, they're going to take a lot longer time in order to have those offspring be able to age out and be independent upon their own. And so that is basically the first set of the first part of work that you guys had to do. The next thing was in your assignment, you had to answer questions 1 and 2. So I've gotten a lot of people that have that in this number 1 where it says compare and contrast spatial distribution, population density, and population growth rate. I've had a lot of you basically just give me a definition and not compare and contrast. And so what I want you guys to do is be able to truly compare and contrast what's the positives, what's the negatives, why is one different from the other, to show me that you understand what it is that you're reading, what it is that you're watching videos about, and what it is that we're talking about. These actually, like really, currently in today's situation, dealing with this coronavirus and how populations are being affected, it truly plays into, this is one of those times when you guys say, well, where am I going to use this? Well, here's where you're using it. This is how we're going to see how certain populations and certain cultures are affected more or less based on how their cultures are affected and how they grasp and how organisms and people move in and out. And then number 2 is to summarize the concepts of carrying capacity and limiting factors and their effects. And so those limiting factors, those are going to be those food resources, those partner resources, those shelter resources. How do those things limit the growth of these populations and how they're doing? So that's my quick 10-minute video. I hope these 2 have helped. Have a great weekend. I'll post another one with the next unit. Bye, guys.